wave formations.
Yes.
And also sensitivity kind of aspects.
Yes.
So is there a particular reason why you would want to use a square wave versus the triple sawtooth?
Yes.
And also as far as sensitivity, I have been asked that question, is the sensitivity mode a mode that is slightly different than the 1025, and
Yes.
therefore you should do sensitivity at certain times?
First of all, thank you. Two very, very good questions. In regards to the sensitive setting on the IMRS or the Omnium, which are equal, you know, we call the sensitive setting the homeopathic setting. So actually, the sensitive setting is not one step below 10. It is actually about a 1/100th of the intensity of 10. So it's a very, very low setting, which in some cases has a very profound effect comparing to 10 to 200. Specifically for people, we figured that out, who suffer from a very, very chronic diseases. One of them is electromagnetic sensitivity, EMS. If somebody suffers from that, they can hardly take any electromagnetic stimulus. On the other side, in order to desensitize this condition, you would have to apply beneficial EMF fields. And therefore we use the sensitive setting to slowly, you know, more or less get them to the point where they can take these kind of information again. And in general, you use this setting for people who really suffer from very, very severe chronic settings. And what was the second question? I forgot it.
Well, the difference between utilizing the square wave versus
okay, square wave and sawtooth, you know, yeah. In general, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, when you use a PMF device, one of the crucial properties is the so-called waveform. This is the, more or less the design with which you transport an information from the sender to the receiver. In our case, from the applicator to the body. And the transport mechanism is the waveform. So the most simple waveform would be the sine wave. The sine wave, you know that from physics, it looks like a regular wave with a peak. And the sine wave has a big disadvantage because you can always only deliver one frequency at a time. So now imagine you have a body which probably needs hundreds and thousands of frequencies in order to resonate with each part of the body. And you would use a sine wave system. How long you would have to apply this in order to get all information from the sender to the receiver? You would have to lie there for hours, for days, even for weeks or months. You know, a square wave is already a more sophisticated waveform where you can literally carry a lot of single frequencies on a carrier and put it in a very short period of time from the sender to the receiver. So that optimizes the transportation time, so you get more information in less time. And the triple sawtooth is the most sophisticated waveform right now when it comes to efficiency of PMF devices, because we can literally put hundreds and thousands of single frequencies, including their harmonic overwaves, in a very, very short period of time from the sender to the receiver. Technically, a triple sawtooth profile is very, very difficult to gain. You know, so it's very, very difficult to create that signal physically. You know, from physics, because it's a very sophisticated waveform. On the other hand, if you are able to design that kind of waveform with all these little necessary adjustments in order to transport the correct frequencies and its harmonic overwaves from A to B, then you have a very, very powerful PMF device. So that means a lot of information in a very short period of time. This is very important. And this is why we're going to use this. And the square wave for our local applicators, the pillow and the probe, We use them because the square wave has, from research, we know it, there's one of these studies is this NASA study, which is always flying around. I'm not sure somebody read that study or have that study. I have it even here, and I will probably go following.